I'm going to be walking you through how to do a simple smoky eye and showing you where to place the eyeshadows. So it is very important to first prime your eyelids with an eyeshadow primer or an eyelid primer. This will help prevent creasing and it will help enhance your eyeshadow colors and help them to show up a little more pigmented and stay for a longer period of time. Now I'm using this Lorac eyeshadow palette. This palette has your basic everyday eyeshadow colors, so I figured this would just be easy to use. I'm going to be starting off with this color Bear, and I'm using a fluffy dome-shaped shading brush, and I'm going to dip it into the color Bear and apply it all over my eyelids, starting in my crease. And this is going to first start carving out my crease and defining it. If you don't have a crease, this is a good trick to do. So you'll want to create a crease with the eyeshadow. So put the eyeshadow where you think the crease would fall and just keep applying it in a backward and forwards windshield wiper motions, and that will just help the colors blend more seamlessly and so that you won't have any harsh lines. So I'm doing the same thing on the other eye. I'm just taking this light color to start off, and then I'll just slowly build up the colors. Next, I'm taking this color Latte, which is a little darker brown, and I'm going to be also putting that over the color Bear, going backwards and forwards, and then I'm wrapping this color around my eye to where the end of my eyelashes are, you know, kind of creating that outer V on my eyelid. And this is just going to help carve out my crease, which helps my eyelids appear bigger, and it's just going to help define my eyes as well. And it's good to slowly build up the colors. I know this may seem like unnecessary steps, but it will really just help your smoky eye look more well blended and more smoky. So now I'm taking that next darker brown color, which is corduroy. But first I'm grabbing my fancy eye shield, aka tissue paper, and this is going to help prevent any eyeshadow fallout that falls onto my face. It's going to prevent it from ruining my makeup that's already done. So this is just something I usually do before I carry on with the darker colors, because you don't want that to ruin your makeup. And I am now adding that corduroy color over the previous colors. Same technique, I'm applying it backwards and forwards, windshield wiper motions, and those windshield wiper motions are just really going to help buff the color out and help prevent any harsh lines, because you want this to just look well blended and you want all the colors to just blend together as best as they can. And so just by constantly going backwards and forwards and then those circular and backward circular motions, it's just going to help them blend better and just look more seamlessly blended together. And then I'm also taking this in the crease as well as creating an outer V on my eyelid, and that's just going to help my eyes look bigger and define the eyelids a little more. So you can see I created that outer V shape on the outer portion of my eyelid and kind of bringing it down the outer part of my lash line. And I'm just blending this even more. You can never blend enough, really. It's good to take a couple of extra minutes to just make sure that everything's blended together, and it will just help everything look really smoky and look really good. Like you won't have any harsh lines and like you are a master makeup artist, which you are. Next, I'm going to be taking a dense eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to be taking the darkest color that I'm going to be using for this look, this chocolate color. And by taking this dense brush rather than a fluffy eyeshadow brush, this is really going to help me pack on the color. It's really going to help me define the outer part of my eyelid, and it's going to help my eyes look bigger. So I'm concentrating this color just on my outer portion of my eyelid. I'm making that outer V shape. So I'm literally drawing a V. I'm going back and forth, tracing over that V, and that is just really going to help define my eyelid. And so I keep packing on the color for another minute, and then I'm going to blend it out with a more fluffy brush. But first, this dense brush is really just going to help me pack on the color in that part of my eye, because this is where I want the darkest color to be, in the outer portion of my eye. You don't want to bring it too far in. and this is going to help your eyes just look a little bigger and more awake. I know I've said that a lot, but that is the key. So now I'm taking that same fluffy eyeshadow brush that I began with, and I'm just going over everything to blend it out. And I take about a minute to really go over this in those circular and backward circular windshield wiper motions. So just keep going back and forth, tracing everything you previously did, and that will just help it look more smoky and blur all the colors together so that you don't see any harsh lines. Going back in with that dense brush that I used, and I'm going along my lower lash line, and this is just going to help even out the smokiness that's on the top of my eyelid, and it's just going to help it look more proportioned and balanced, because you want to bring some of that down on your bottom side so that it just doesn't look top heavy. And now I'm going in with a smaller flat eyeshadow brush. I'm going in with that color Bear, the one we began with, and I'm going to pat this onto my eyelid, onto the top center part of my eyelid, basically from the inner corner of my eye to about midway. You don't want to go over all the really dark part that we did in the outer V, so just about half of the eyelid, and this is just going to help brighten your eye and just help intensify everything and bring it all together, because you need something on your eyelid. And then you want to go back in that same blending brush to make sure that there's no lines and to make sure that all the colors are blended in together. And that completes this tutorial for where you should place your eyeshadow to create a smoky eye. I use eyeliner and mascara in a different video, so be sure to check that out whenever I post it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.